Comments made on the following paid commercial program are an expression of opinion only and should not be construed in any matter whatsoever as recommendations to buy or sell any financial instrument at any time.
Welcome to the Money and Wealth Show. On the program this week, tax tips with David Ingram, money commercials, and our special guest, Garth Turner. Welcome to the Money and Wealth Show. I'm Sterling Fox, and it's a real pleasure to welcome back Garth Turner to the program for, I believe, your third appearance since we began in February. Nice to see you again.
Thank you, Sterling, and congratulations on the show. It's going well.
It's going very well, in fact, and we appreciate all the support we're getting from our viewers. You talk a lot about, on your blog, greaterfool.ca, about two items that are the source of a great deal of confusion to people. Garth, you talk about deflation and inflation. And let's talk about both for a second, starting with deflation, because frankly, it sounds worse, to be the worst of the two.
Yeah, actually, Sterling, it is. Deflation is essentially when the value of things goes down. That means the value of money goes up because it takes less money to buy things. On the surface, it doesn't sound so bad, right? But actually, it's very destructive because when prices continue to fall, whether it's for cars, houses, flat screen TVs, iPods, whatever, people put off buying decisions because they think, my God, why would I buy it today? It'll be cheaper in 6 months.
Sure.
So that means that prices have to continue to go down in order to attract buyers. It also means economic activity grinds to a halt because people are waiting to buy. And our society is like 60% consumer oriented.
Sure.
So when that goes down, the whole economy goes down. Corporations don't make money, inventories build up, people get laid off, we end up in a spiraling situation. The ultimate result of deflation is depression, and that's what caused the 1930s. Nobody has actually experienced this for 80 years. Which is why it scares the hell out of politicians.
Right, because it's something they can't control.
Exactly. They would much rather have inflation, which is when the value of goods continues to rise and the value of money falls. And we're all more accustomed to that.
Sure.
And therefore, it's an easier thing to deal with. So in a nutshell, that's inflation, deflation. The interesting thing is right now we have both.
Okay, the Bank of Canada, and this is where I suppose our comfort zone with the notion of inflation comes, because the Bank of Canada will raise interest rates from time to time, and they tell us flat out to keep inflation in check.
Yes.
So we've come to understand that, but we've still got interest rates, Garth, at 1% after 3 increases, and the norm would be in the 3 to 4% range. So there's room for inflation, isn't there?
Yeah, there is. Actually, what the Bank of Canada is most concerned about right now, Sterling, is borrowing. We don't really have a lot of inflation right now. It's about 1.8%, you know, the official number. What they're really concerned about is people have really borrowed their brains out because of the cheap interest rates. So what the Bank of Canada is doing right now is raising them as much as they can without throwing cold water on the economy, but to send a signal out that, hey, listen, kids, stop borrowing those zillions of dollars with a variable rate mortgage because we're going to keep that sucker going up and it's going to become more difficult for you. So we've reached a point of household debt right now, which is very problematic. And it goes into this inflation deflation argument because we've gotten prices so high, let's talk about houses. Prices for houses are so high that they're unaffordable, and prices have started to come down, and that's a deflationary pull.
Right.
But by the same token, we borrowed so much debt, and the cost of the debt is going up. That's inflationary. So it's a really complicated, confused time for people, and we're right in the middle of this seesaw.
Which of the two, deflation or inflation, concerns you the most?
Oh, I think I would agree with the powers that be. The deflation is more difficult to control once it gets a hold in the economy. People can have deflationary expectations and they'll stop buying. Today it's the kiss of death. Our economy's bouncing around at the bottom right now, so it's really tough. Having said that, I think we're going to see a deflationary trend right now, which is actually going to end up in inflation. So there's no doubt in my mind where we're going. And it may be a few months or a year or two from now, but I think it will become evident that we're in a very inflationary phase in the economy.
When you see ads on television, as we all do, for services or products particularly from distributors and so on who advertise with no interest until 2012. What does that tell you? What sort of trend is that encouraging beyond let's go out and buy this stuff on credit?
Well, we're extending credit right now, which is all over our society. Credit is still fairly easy to get. This is a key part of Keynesian economics. John Maynard Keynes was a famous economist who, after the last depression, said, if you ever encounter this again, the best defense against deflation is basically give money away. And that's what North American governments have been doing, giving it away hand over fist. And cheap interest rates are a part of doing that. So governments are doing it, banks are doing it, retailers are doing it. Everybody's trying to encourage us to spend by giving us money to borrow and then spend. So the no money down stuff, buy your living room suite today and pay for it in 10 years, is actually just part of that whole trend. It's the same as the banks, you know, 5% down, 35-year mortgage to buy a home. If you don't have the 5% down, don't worry about it, we'll give you the money. Right? So it's all part of the same.
And in terms of slowing down the economy, if you're going out and buying that living room suite with no interest till 2012, then it's going to be many years before you're going to be available even to purchase anything new. And you're out of the game as far as the economy is concerned for a good long time.
Yeah, that's the real problem right now. With these cheap interest rates, the emergency interest rates that we got in Canada and the United States in the crisis of a year and a half ago, it has pulled demand from the future. Right? If you were ever thinking about buying a house in the next 2 years, you probably wanted to do it in the last few months because interest rates were so low. So we pulled demand from the future. And it's because politicians have been trying to save their asses right now from going into a deflationary funk that we have actually created a problem that is more long-term.
And the government got called out recently by the OECD for artificially fueling the economy in the way that you've just described.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. And people can see it now. So I think that it's a time for investors to be really careful and cautious because we are in very much a watershed moment where I think we can tip one way or the other.
Right.
So I think that you need to really go against the herd right now, and that is to diminish your borrowing, to pay off debt instead of taking more, accumulate liquid assets, and be prepared for the inflationary upsurge to come.
Our special guest this week on the Money and Wealth Show is Garth Turner from greaterfool.ca. Lots more to come. Stay with us.
Good afternoon. My name's Larry Ray. I'm the President and CEO of American Manganese, Inc. I'm here to tell you today that American Manganese could possibly bring in the lowest cost electrolytic manganese metal mine in North America. It'll be the first one in the past few decades. What is manganese? Well, you can't have a steel industry without manganese. If you don't have manganese, you don't have steel. If you don't have steel, the world stops. North America has no manganese. We depend on our neighbors and other countries to import our manganese, and it just doesn't make any sense we don't exploit the resources in our own country. So I'm here to tell you that we are moving ahead with the feasibility study, we're moving ahead with the environmental studies, and we're moving ahead with a massive drill program in order to build the American Manganese, Inc. into the first primary electrolytic manganese producer in the United States. Please visit our website at americanmanganeseinc.com or call us at 604-531-9639. Thank you.